All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me. We'll go ahead and get started here. Well, looks like we don't have any questions on here. So go ahead and post your questions on there, and I'll be happy to answer them. So on the right-hand side of the screen there, you should be able to see, if you're on your mobile device, it might be below the video, but you should be able to see where you can post your questions. It says enter message here. And you can post your questions right there, and we'll start answering them. But it doesn't look like I have any new questions on there. Those questions are from yesterday, so that I'm seeing on there right now. So go ahead and post your questions on there. Let's put my phone on Do Not Disturb there. And the neighbor's doing some yard work, so I apologize if there's some background noise. All right, so Victoria L says, I need a drill to help me hit the ball in the center of the driver, not the heel, not the toe, the center. All right, so basically, I imagine you have a tendency of where you're striking it on the club face. So what I'd recommend doing is getting some foot powder spray. You can get it at about any pharmacy like Walgreens, CVS, anything like that. And what you do is you go out to the range and spray it on the club face and see where you are striking it on the club face. Usually there's a tendency. Usually it's you're seeing, everything's on the toe, everything's on the heel, everything's really high on the face, and everything's really low on the face. Typically, you're going to see, there's a dispersion that's going to be in a certain area of the club face. If it's kind of all over the place, then you probably need to work on your stable fluid spine. Odds are your spine is all over the place and you're moving all over the place, and it's making it very difficult for you to get the ball in the center of the face. So that's what I would be working on if that's the case. If it's kind of all over the place, that would definitely be working on the stable fluid spine course. To get to the stable fluid spine course, so you say you're striking it high at the top using tape across the face. Yeah, so if you're hitting it at the top of the face, the very, very top of the face, what's likely going on is, well, one, I would try to hit it on the bottom of the face. Like literally try to hit it. If you're hitting it up here, adjust your feeling to hit it down here. A lot of what golf is just adjusting your feeling to get the desired result. Many times you really don't have to make it more complicated than that. But if you're hitting it on the bottom, or if you're trying to hit it on the bottom of the face, just try to exaggerate it. Literally try to top it, and that will more than likely get that strike more in the center of the face. And if you still hit it kind of in the top of the face, just exaggerate it even more. If you hit it in the bottom of the face, then just ease off of that feeling a little bit. That's a simple thing that I would recommend doing. But typically when you're coming down and you're hitting it on the top of the face, it's usually because you're kind of hitting down on the ball with your driver, which we want to be hitting up on the golf ball with the driver. So basically what that means is this club comes down, it reaches a low point, and then it works back up. If you're hitting it on this top part of the face, then you're probably coming down and it's reaching the low point about where the golf ball is, and it's getting on the top of the face. And usually when our low point is forward, it's either because our ball position is too far back in our stance. So make sure that your ball position is straight down from your lead shoulder. That's about where you want it. That's going to be a pretty good spot for it. If you're having it further back than that, that's probably getting it close to that low point. That may be why you're hitting it on the top of the face. The other thing I would look at is your compression line. So in the Top Speed Golf system, we have our compression line, and this is related to the stable fluid spine as well. But we have our compression line. The compression line is the line that we draw at impact that goes from our lead ankle, our lead hip, and our lead shoulder. So we want that to be all in a nice straight line there at contact. And we want that to be slightly angled away from the target. Now, if you are in a position where it's vertical, you draw, look at your swing on video, look at a face on video, and you look on video and you see that that line is more in a vertical type fashion. It's really not angled away at all. That too is also going to move that low point forward, because that low point is typically straight down from the lead shoulder. It's going to be somewhere in that area. It can vary in between there, a little bit forward or a little bit back of that, depending on how you're releasing the club and things of that nature. But typically that low point is happening straight down from the lead shoulder. So if we're leaning forward and our compression line is forward, that low point is going to be happening in front of the golf ball. So we want to have that, since that ball is forward in our stance, we want to have that just a little bit behind the golf ball to allow us to hit up on it. So you may want to work on the compression line course as well. So to get to the compression line course, all you got to do is click the house icon. That's going to take you to the home page. When you get to the home page, scroll down and you'll see a list of all the courses there, and click on the compression line course and get started on that, if that's what you're seeing on camera. But it could be just as easy as adjusting your field to get the desired result, which would mean trying to top it, trying to hit it on the lower part of the face. And it could be as easy as just moving your ball position, getting that ball position to where it's about straight down from the lead shoulder. If you have it too far back in your stance, that's moving it close to that low point. That might be why you're hitting it high on the face, or making it more difficult to hit it in the center of the face. All right, so keep the questions coming here. We'll go ahead and keep answering them. In the meantime, I'll just be checking some emails here, waiting for a question. Now, if you're just joining me, I'm just waiting for a question to be asked. So if you got a question, go ahead and post it on there, and we'll get it answered. I'm just answering some emails right now. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for a question to be asked. All right, so looks like we got a question here from Steve G. Steve G says, "Hi Q. The other day I was trying out a new wedge and I hit 10 balls in a row straight off to the right or hit." So looks like he might have didn't quite get his question on there, or his whole entire question anyway. So one thing to keep in mind when you're trying out new clubs, like you have the timing down of your club shaft and the way it feels and things like that. If a club has a little different feeling, then you might end up, it would be a little bit of getting used to. So anyway, goes on to say it was like a ground out to the right or a grounder. The pitcher, what gives? So it sounds like you were just topping it. So typically, what most likely was happening is you were topping it, and usually when you top a ball, especially with the wedge, is because you're not getting your weight forward enough, you're kind of hanging back. So I was just talking about low point a minute ago. The club comes down, it reaches a low point, and then it works back up. So when you are hitting wedges, you want that low point to actually be in front of the golf ball. So if I have my golf ball here and I'll grab a wedge. All right. So if I'm coming down and I got my wedge here, if I'm coming down, I want this club to come down, hit the ball first, and then hit down through the turf. I want that low point to be out in this area. If you're topping it, what most likely is happening is that you're coming in, that club is reaching a low point, maybe it's missing the turf, and then it's working back up into the golf ball, and then you hit that grounder that you were talking about. That's more than likely what's happening there. But yeah, you just need to make sure that you got your weight forward. Since on a pitch shot, I assume you're hitting pitch shots. Pitch shot, there is no need to have really a weight shift. There's going to be naturally a little bit of a weight shift from the club going back and forth. I mean, the weight's not going to be able to stay perfectly on your lead side or anything like that. But when you're hitting a pitch shot, because it's not a power, we're not going for power. We don't need a momentum shift. We're going for accuracy. And when we're doing that, we don't need to shift our weight. Really, you can just try to keep your weight on your lead side the whole time and focus on getting that good ball first contact. So that's more than likely what was going on there. It could be ball position. You might have the ball too far forward, and that's causing you to kind of come up and hit those grounders. That could be what's going on. So generally about the middle of your stance with the wedge is a good place to be. Too far back, if you have it too far back, it's going to promote more of a chopping down kind of motion. If you have it too far forward, you're going to end up either trying to flip to get to it, or you're going to end up kind of doing what sounds like what you were doing, which is have the club bottom out before the golf ball and then work up into the golf ball and hit those grounders. So I'd be just checking, make sure that you are getting your weight forward on those pitch shots for sure. All right, so Tom D says, for a pitch shot of, say, 50 yards, where does the leading edge contact the ball? Well, the leading edge hopefully does not contact the ball. If the leading edge contacts the ball, that's going to be a blade. So no, you don't want to be hitting it with the leading edge. That you're going to blade that. You're going to knife it over the green most likely, or past the hole. Typically, where you want to be striking the ball is going to be in those lower grooves with the wedge. That's going to allow you to get some good spin on the ball. And it really depends on your lie. If you have a really fluffy lie, it may be difficult to get those low groove strikes. They're going to give you more spin. It might be more up in the center, toward the center of the face. But if you're in a nice tight lie, not a lot of grass around the ball, you can get those nice lower couple grooves there. Maybe the third groove up there. That's a good spot to really get some good spin, because that's going to allow you. Something happens that's called gearing, where the ball will actually, if it hits it in the lower part of the face, the ball will actually crawl up the face a little bit when it's compressed on there, and that will add more spin, and that's more desirable for wedges. But if you're on a lie where the ball's kind of sitting up, there's going to definitely be getting some grass between the face and the ball, and it's going to be hard to get it on those lower grooves. You're going to more than likely get it on the upper grooves. The ball will come out a little bit higher, but also have less spin on it. because it's not going to get that gearing in there. So it's also going to have less spin on it because you're getting grass between the face and the golf ball, which makes the ball slip a little bit, and it won't grab the ball and make it spin as much. So keep that in mind. But typically, if you're hitting off of a really tight lie, those lower grooves, those are a great place to be. But if you're not, then center of the face is a pretty good place to be as well. But we definitely don't want to be hitting it with the leading edge. Leading edge is going to be a blade shot, probably way over the green. We definitely don't want to be doing that. All right, so looks like we got some questions on here now. All right, so John L. Says, after taking the TSG course and learning how to hit from the inside, i.e. the move, I am struggling to fade the ball. In theory, how do you fade the ball while coming from the inside instead of over the top? So basically, the only thing that needs to happen, in order to fade the ball is the face needs to be open to the club path. So you can swing from the inside. Your face just has to be more open to that path. So imagine if you're swinging from the inside, you're swinging 4 degrees from the inside. So 4 degrees into out, the club is working through 4 degrees into out. In order to fade the ball, the face just needs to be more than 4 degrees open compared to the target. So that's all you need to do to fade the ball is get the face where it's more than 4 degrees open, and then the ball will fade from there. So I would think about maybe holding, instead of turning the handle down so much, maybe feel like you're kind of not necessarily rolling the hands over as much, but kind of holding the face open through contact as you're swinging from the inside, and that will get the ball to fade. That's how you would hit kind of what we call a power fade. Because that's really the difference between kind of a regular fade and a power fade is usually with a regular fade, when you get the face open what happens is it adds loft. So it usually loses a little bit of compression on the ball, not only because you're grazing across it because you're fading it, but also because you're adding loft to it. So the power fade is where you get the face open to the path, but you still have that forward shaft lean. So you have to actually compensate for the loss of loft by having the shaft leaning more forward. And that's what a power fade is. So that's what you can do when you swing from the inside instead of swinging on plane or across the ball over the top. Swing from the inside and just have the face a little bit more open, but that's going to allow you, when you swing from the inside, it's going to allow you to have a little bit more forward shaft lean as you're coming through there. So I just try to feel like you're pushing your hands forward more and you're holding that face open, and that's going to give you that power fade. So I would try that at the driving range, get a good feeling for that. We also have, I believe we have some videos on that. Let me look and see here. We have a power fade video on here. Let me look real quick so you can find it. All right, so I'm just going to search, and the website has a really good search engine. So if you're ever looking for a video on a specific thing, like what you're talking about, that'd be a little bit hard to search. You could just search the word fade and see if you could find it. But power fade is what you'll want. Here we go. 3.4, how to hit a power fade. I think that's a really good one. How pros hit a power fade. That's what you want right there. So just search the word power fade, and it'll be the third result down, how pros hit a power fade. There's going to be some other stuff in there as well. The first two, I'm not familiar with SS011, but SSS005 I think is a good one as well that can help you. But yeah, just search 2 words, power fade, on the website, and you'll find that video, how pros hit a power fade. That's a really good one to help you as far as a drill is concerned. Maybe help you visualize a little bit more what I'm talking about. But yeah, basically what you're doing is you're kind of holding off that face and pushing the hands forward, and that's going to give you that de-lofting along being able to swing from the inside, getting that de-lofting, and be able to not lose distance with the fade. Because a lot of people will lose a lot of distance with the fade because it adds loft, which takes off compression. So John Ellis says there have been a few that have been asked. All right, cool. For some reason, it wasn't popping up on here a minute ago, but now we're seeing them. All right, so Serge T says, would you say that you could do everything right in the golf swing? It will not yield distance or great shots consistently if you have tension in your upper body. With that in mind, what do you personally prevent tension creeping in your golf swing? Give an example. So I wouldn't agree, because that's kind of a trick question, right? So you said, if you do everything right in the swing, well, that would be, you wouldn't have tension. So if you're doing everything right, you wouldn't have tension in the swing. Now there is going to be some tension in the swing. You can't get rid of all tension in the golf swing. It's just not going to happen. You are swinging hard. There's forces going on. You're not going to get rid of all your tension. So the idea here, you're not going to swing the club and it's just going to feel like a flimsy noodle thing going on. That's just not really how it works. There's forces in play and things going on. There's going to be tension in the golf swing. So I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't say that you're not going to have any tension. You're going to have the most amount of tension that you're going to have is in these first 3 fingers of your lead hand. That's really where you're putting a lot of force into the handle. In the beginning of the swing, you're definitely going to have some tension in the upper body, and it's going to feel like just imagine if you're a baseball pitcher, right? So if I'm a baseball pitcher and I'm throwing this ball, I definitely have some tension back here where I'm getting ready to throw this ball. And then that tension kind of relieves as I'm kind of loosening up and throwing it. So you're going to have tension in the golf swing. There's just no way around it. It's just a matter of when you're swinging through contact, you want to feel most of that tension pretty much happening in these first 3 fingers. So that's pinky, ring, middle. That's where you want to be feeling that as you're coming through. But it's not going to be this like cloud-like feeling as you're going through contact. There's definitely going to be some tension, and especially in your first 3 fingers in your hand. So I wouldn't necessarily agree with what you're saying there. So Larry S says, I want to start over and learn how to make a golf swing. Do you have a beginner basic starting video? I would just recommend starting with the Top Speed Golf System and just going through the system. So I would go, and I would also say that I don't think it's necessary to have that feeling that you just want to start over and learn to make a good golf swing. Most people are actually, especially been playing golf for any period of time. Most people have a pretty decent foundation of which to work with. So I would just be looking at your swing on video and have an understanding of what the Top Speed Golf System is. So I would probably just watch the level 1 videos of each piece of the system, so you can have an understanding of what it is, and then look on video and see what's going on there. See what's see what's going on with your stable fluid spine. Make sure you're in good shape with that. Make sure you have a good power turn. Make sure you're getting lag. I would look at all these pieces, and then I would work. If your stable fluid spine needs work, if your stable fluid spine is perfect, you're already angled away, you're angled away at the top and getting more angled away as you're coming into contact, then there's really no sense in working on something that you're already doing well. So I would skip that, and I'd go to the power turn. I'd make sure that you're getting a good enough power turn. And even if your power turn is more than or at 90 degrees, I would still work on your power turn, because it was worth it to see if you can get more than what you're getting. So even if it looks like it's pretty good, I would try to get that even more. And that's because that's one of the easiest ways to get distance. And distance is one of the highest correlations to lowering your scores, because it's just so much easier to play golf when you're hitting it further. So I definitely look at that. And then I would look at lag, make sure that you're generating some lag in the downswing. If you see you're casting, you're not really generating any lag, I'd work through the Top Speed lag course. And I'd look at your compression line, which is going to be from the lead shoulder, lead hip, lead ankle. Make sure that you're in a nice straight line there. You're not bumped out like this, or make sure that your body's kind of opening up as you're coming into contact. So your body's going to be looking like this. You're opening up, and you're not like this, like not opening up at all, just kind of bumping your hips forward and flipping the club. Make sure that you're good there. And then if that's all good, then I would move on to the straight line release. Make sure that you're releasing that club 45 degrees out in front. So if you're nailing all those pieces, then your technique is actually pretty darn good. I'd also check the move, make sure that you are shallowing out the club, turning that handle down, so on and so forth. So the Top Speed Golf System, the move, I would work through those pieces in that order. Check your swing on each of those pieces: stable fluid spine, power turn, top speed lag. Then I would look at your compression line. I would look at the straight line release. Then I would look at the move. If you're nailing all those pieces, you're really nailing all the most important things in golf as far as technique is concerned. You're nailing everything. That's 95% of the issues, probably even more than that. So probably more like 99%, 98% of any issues you can have are alleviated right there. Now, I would work through those pieces. The next piece after that would be, I would be either looking at speed training or ball striking. Now, if you're nailing all those pieces and you're hitting the ball all over the map, it's everywhere, then I would be looking at upping your skill level, because you just don't have a very good, if that's the case, you just don't have a very good awareness of what's going on. So that would be working through the ball striking masterclass. That's what I'd recommend that you're doing. Now, we offer this course every month or two. So just be on the lookout in your email for an opportunity to sign up for it. It's not included with your membership. It is an additional fee. It's a one-time fee, $147 at the moment to do the course. Just be on the lookout in your email to do it. It's a 90-day program, and it really helps you to understand the relationship of your strike location. It helps you improve your awareness of your strike location, the face angle, your club path, your ground contact. Is what we call the big four. We focus on those things, because if you're nailing all those pieces of the Top Speed Golf System, then you're really putting your body in a position to nail those things. But the problem is that you just don't have the skill level, the athleticism, the coordination. So that's what this ball striking masterclass does. It helps you build that coordination, that athleticism, that awareness of your impact. And then once you're getting that, and you're starting to have some control of your ball flight, at that time, it would be time to work on some speed training, and that'd be working through the 20-minute distance fix course. So that's what I'd be looking at doing. If you're looking for ways to kind of rebuild your swing, get the pieces down. If you do have some pretty good control of your ball flight and you're not hitting it all over the map, then I would just go straight to the 20-minute distance fix and work through that. And then after that, after you go through that course one time, then I would actually go back and work on that ball striking masterclass to get even better control of what's going on. So that's how you got to look at it. There's basically three pieces that are really, really important. You've got your impact, which is going to be worked through a ball striking masterclass. You've got your technique, which is the Top Speed Golf System, as well as the move. And then you have speed training, which is the 20-minute distance fix. So that's what I'd be looking at going through. You don't probably need to just start over. I know you're probably, I've been there before. I know where you're at. You're in a place where you've worked on several things and nothing seems to be working. And what you need to do is you actually need to have some structure into what you're working on and actually work through it. So that's what the Top Speed Golf System offers, is it gives you some structure of what you need to do. And it's intended for players of all ability levels. The only people that the Top Speed Golf System is not intended for would be a total beginner. So if you're someone who's never really played golf before, just completely total beginner, then you need to learn to just make the basic grip, to set up to the golf ball correctly, to just hit the ball in general. If that's what you're looking for, then I would go to the setup vault on the website and work through some of those videos and making sure that you got your grip good, you know how to set up to the ball and so on. And once you have that down, then I would be going to the Top Speed Golf System and working through the videos. The only other people that the Top Speed Golf System is not for are basically tour players, right? Or really, really scratch golfers who are nailing all the pieces already. They're already doing all that stuff, so it's not really for them. And they may need to go work on some speed training or some skill level stuff. So that's what I'd recommend doing. If you are in that boat where you are a total beginner and you don't know even really how to grip the club or set up to the ball or anything, then to get to the setup vault, all you have to do is go to the top of the page and click on instruction. That will expand a menu, and then you'll see vault categories. Click on that. That will take you to the vault categories page. On the vault categories page, all the categories are in alphabetical order. So the setup vault will be kind of toward the bottom, starting with S. So click on the setup vault and work through some of those videos, get informed on the proper grip, the proper stance, and how far to stand away from the ball, and how, basically all those things are going to help you to understand exactly what you need to do. And then once you get that down, then you can start working through the system. All right. So Steve G says, started really drawing the ball recently by trying to set up at the path and then the face. But as I start to control the amount of draw, but I tend to set up one way for the path and then get more of a draw that starts down the line, then starts, and then draws, and then I'm invariably left of target. Is there a go-to way to keep the draw tight to the path? So Steve, I'm not really sure exactly what you're asking, but basically the ball is always going to start mostly in the direction of the face and then curve away from the club path. So what you want to do is set up the face in the direction you want the ball to start, and then set up your feet. If you're trying to hit a draw, then you just set up your feet a little bit closed to that. So if I'm trying to hit a draw, I want the ball to start right of the target. So I'm actually going to set up my face a little bit right of the target, right? If I'm right-handed, and then I'm going to set up my feet a little bit close to that. And that's going to allow me to swing from the inside and get my face close to my path, but open to my target. And that allows me to start the ball to the right and curve to the left. So that's what I'd recommend doing. That's typically how I set up. Now for a fade, same thing. I'll set up with my face a little bit to the left, and I'll set up with my feet a little bit more to the left, so that I can swing in that kind of fashion and get that face open to my club path and make it easier to hit a fade. So that's what I'd recommend doing. Hopefully that helps. But again, I'm not sure exactly what you were trying to ask there. So Henry C says, have been working on the lag drills. My left hip is really sore and hurts. Am I doing something wrong, or just I am using muscles that I wasn't using before? I did make sure that I'm doing a level hip turn to avoid unnecessary strain. So a couple of things. So one, if your hip is really hurting you and it's really sore, that's probably something to talk to your doctor about. And it's hard for me to know if you're doing something wrong without seeing your swing. But typically, if you get that hip bump where you're bumping forward a lot, that could be causing some left hip pain. So if you look on video, see if you're doing that. You want your compression line right. We want to be nice and angle. So you may want to feel like you're pushing your hip back and out of the way instead of really bumping it forward like that, because that can be causing the pain of what's going on there. But again, it's hard for me to know what's going on there. Also, keep in mind is that it could be like what you're saying. It's just you're doing something that it's muscles that haven't been used before or something like that, and they're just sore. That could be what's going on. It could be that your body's not, maybe you're practicing a lot right now, and you're just kind of overusing your muscles and things like that. If I go on a tirade where I practice every day for like a week or something like that, and I was practicing maybe one day a week before, my wrists start hurting a little bit, my back gets a little bit sore. So these are things that come with like the wear and tear. Our body's not meant to swing a club that many times, right? Or to swing a club in general. So if you do any movement to any kind of excess, you're going to get sore. If I sit in a chair, sit up and down out of a chair 100 times, or do it like 1,000 times in a day, that's not how many times I usually sit up and sit down. It doesn't mean I'm sitting or standing up wrong. It just means that I'm just doing it over and over. I'm probably going to be pretty sore the next day from sitting and standing and things like that. So that could be what's going on as well, but it's really impossible for me to know. But I would first make sure that you're not doing that hip bump, that you're actually turning and not bumping forward, because that can definitely cause some hip strain and some back strain as well. So I'd be taking a look at that. If that's the case, then I'd be working on some compression line drills because that means that you're bumping out your compression line. There's actually one in there for hip pain. I can actually look it up for you real quick. Go to the compression line course. All right, so if I scroll down, so all I did is I clicked the house icon, went to the home page, I scroll down, click the compression line course, and then on the right-hand side here, you'll see the course navigation. If you click the little triangles, it'll expand the menu. And I'm just looking for, so it's not in level 1. I think it might be in level 2. Yep, so 2.1 from the compression line course, eliminate hip pain from golf. That's likely one that's going on there. You're probably bumping the hip out. It could be what's going on. It could be just a lot of repetition. It could be not using muscles that you used before or anything like that. It could be all kinds of things. But yeah, definitely checking those out. And again, if you're really sore and it really hurts, don't do it. I mean, I know you're trying to get better and you're trying to practice, but maybe just work on your putting for a day or two, or your chipping or something like that that doesn't put so much impact on your hips, because that just take it easy for a little bit. That may be helpful. All right, so Gary D says, how do you set up for an uphill stance for a chip shot around elevated greens? So there's really no difference. The only thing that I would say is you kind of want to match your body to the plane. So if it's a real severe uphill, basically what you do is you just kind of match your shoulders to the plane. So typically, if you're normally chipping, you'd be kind of like this. This would be on level turf. If you get to where the turf is kind of like that, where it's really uphill, all you would do is just kind of lift up like that. Because if you keep your shoulders the same and you're working the club basically into the slope, you're going to be taking a lot of the loft off that face, and it's not going to want to get up in the air as quickly. So if you go like this, that's going to help you to swing kind of up the slope and allow you to get that ball more up in the air. So that'd be the only thing, is I would say you set up the way you normally would, but I would just try to get my body to where it's more angled away. And the other thing to keep in mind is that even though you're on an uphill slope, it's going to be more difficult to have your weight forward because you're going to want to hang back on your heels. So try to get your weight forward as much as you can, and so that you can get that ball first contact, and then kind of angle your shoulders so you can get that club working up the slope so that you can get it up onto the green. But that's really the only difference for sure. Henry C says, should add it's more of the muscles around the left hip, not the hip joint. Yeah, so I would just be looking at, if you're not bumping the hip out, if that's really not what's going on at all, then you probably just need a break for a little bit. All right, so Dennis G says, when doing speed training, is it okay to hit balls at 100% speed or just swing without a ball? Hold on. So when doing speed training, is it okay to hit balls at 100% speed or just swing without a ball? Yeah, so when you are doing the speed training, what you want to do is swing at 100% effort. When you're going through the 20-minute distance fixed drills, you absolutely want to be swinging with 100% effort. That's part of the neural adaptation part of it. You really want to make sure that you're doing that. And then you can do some swings without the ball for sure. There's going to be some indoor training in there where you can do swings without the ball. It's always better to do swings with the ball, but obviously if you're at home and you can't hit balls, maybe you don't have a net set up or something like that, and all you can do is kind of swing in the backyard, then absolutely. But keep in mind that sometimes your speeds, for some people the speeds are higher with a ball, and some people the speeds are lower with a ball or without a ball, and vice versa. So keep that in mind, that the speed may not be the exact same as what you get with and without the ball. My speed is slower without the golf ball. I don't know why, but without a golf ball, it's slower. Clay, when he swings without a ball, he swings faster. So some people are different. I don't know why I do that. And I've seen other people do it as well. So keep that in mind. It's not going to be the exact same. Some people swing about the same. but sometimes it's higher or lower. But yeah, you can do that. It's not going to be as effective as doing it with the ball, but if it's definitely better than not doing any kind of speed training at all. It's going to definitely help you get the feeling of what you need to do. All right, so Kim M says, having difficulty stacking up my left side of impact. I seem to be keeping my head too far back. How much forward body movement should there be from top of swing to impact? So generally your body is going to move, a few inches forward. So we're talking like 3-6 inches forward. So if I'm at the top of the swing here, I'm starting to move forward. I'm going to get about 3 to 6 inches, depending on how big you are or how tall you are and things like that. But generally, you're going to be moving a few inches forward, and then basically once you start getting that pressure into your lead foot, that's when you're going to start rotating the body. So you probably just need to work on your compression line. It sounds like, because it sounds like you're kind of bumping out forward, and maybe you're having trouble because you're dipping way under. It could be because your whole body is really sliding forward, and your compression line is getting to where it's angled this way, and you're just kind of coming in like that, and you can't come around to a full finish. It's hard to say without seeing your swing, but you probably just need to go and work on your compression line. So again, I brought up the compression line a lot in this office hours, but basically, again, the compression line is the line that goes up from your lead ankle, lead hip, lead shoulder at contact. So here I am at contact, and I want that to be nice in a straight line here, and I want that to be slightly angled away from the target. So basically, your impact position would look something like this. If I'm like that, right, I'm bumped out. My hip is way out of alignment from the line going up from my ankle to my shoulder. It's way out of alignment. If I'm like this, right, I'm leaning forward here with my compression line. If you draw that line, I'm leaning way forward. So you're most likely in one of those situations. It's hard for me to say without looking at your swing, but you probably just need to work on the compression line course. So I'd recommend going to the top of the page, click the house icon. That's going to take you to the home page. On the home page, if you scroll down, you'll see a list of all the courses on the website. There are 20 plus courses on the website. Click that compression line course and work through level 1, level 2, level 3, and so on and so forth. So that's going to help you to get an understanding of what what you need to do, to keep on moving forward and getting that good finished position like we see all the tour players get. A lot of that's just a product of having that good compression line there. All right. So John L says, these office hours are a great resource and you are an excellent instructor. Oh, thank you. This cannot be easy based on the cryptic messages we send. Thanks. So sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. I know how difficult it can be to ask a question. You have this thought in your mind, you know what you're trying to ask, but it's hard to put into words sometimes. So yeah, definitely it can be difficult sometimes for sure. All right. So Mike L says, with reference to the tic-tac-toe board, is the target always straight down the line while trying to pass through the appropriate square? And then how big should the board be? So that's a great question. So what Mike's talking about is the tic-tac-toe board. I've talked about this in the past. Essentially, what it is a way that you can kind of go out and work on what we call the 9 shots. So the 9 shots are the low trajectory, mid trajectory, high trajectory, and then you have your fade, your straight, and your draw, right? So you're going to have a high trajectory fade, and you're going to have a low trajectory fade, a mid trajectory fade, and then you're going to have a high straight shot, medium trajectory straight shot, and then a low straight shot. So the medium trajectory, that's going to be like your stock shot. That's what you normally would hit. That's going to be your most comfortable kind of swing. So basically working on the 9 shot shapes. And the way that I go out and do the tic-tac-toe board, I actually haven't done it in a long time, and I need to, is I go out there and I actually count the amount. So I make a little tic-tac-toe board in a notebook or wherever you can write it down on, scorecard, whatever it might be. And what I'll do is I'll attempt to hit that shot. So it'd be if I'm trying to start out with a low draw, I would start out with that shot and I would count how many shots it took me, excuse me, to get that perfect low draw. So it has to be center face contact. It has to be, it has to be a solid shot. It has to be center face contact. It has to be the ball first contact. It's gotta be low and it's gotta draw. That's really what I get to is it just has to, those things have to happen. If it starts to the right and curves to the left, then it counts. Now, if you get better and better and better with it, that's what I would start out with. If it's a 50-yard hook and it's low, then it counts. If it's a 2-yard draw, and as long as it starts to the right and curves to the left, then it counts. So, and as long as it's low, solid, ball first contact, all that stuff with the appropriate speed, not really slow, as long as it lands, basically within a certain, I would say within 10 yards of your target, then it counts. That's what I would deem it as. Now, if you, like I said, if you get really good at it, then you could say, okay, it has to be with a, it has to be a less than a 5-yard draw. Or you can go through it and you can say it has to be a 10-yard draw, which might be difficult to do depending on what the club you're using is. But you can go through it and essentially, tighten that up. But the way I would do it starting out is I would just say it just has to be a draw. So if it draws 1 yard, that counts. That's a draw. If it draws 15 yards, it counts. It's a draw. So it just has to have that curvature on it that you're trying to put on. That's what I would do at first. And then I count the amount of shots that it takes me to get a successful rep. And then I would move on to the next one. And then, so next one, let's say it took me 6 shots to get that perfect draw. Let me actually draw this out. Oh man, I don't have any paper towels in here to clean that. Otherwise I would. But anyway, so once I get that, it's 6 shots, then I'll move on. It doesn't matter what order you can go on. Just pick one and start with it, and then pick another one. You're just trying to fill that entire tic-tac-toe board as you go through it. So, and then you count the total amount of attempts it took you to get those 9 successful attempts, and that would be kind of your score there. And that's the score that you're trying to beat next time. You're trying to beat your low score every single time. And then you can also go through and you can go all the top and you can count all the ones that go across the top. So that would be, I would count all the shots that were fade, draw, straight that were high. And you can see where your tendencies are. So maybe to get the low shots, maybe it would only take me, maybe it only took me 6 shots to get all the low shots, but it took me 20 shots to get all the high shots. Well, you can clearly see that I struggle with getting that ball up high. So you can kind of find what you need to work on. Okay, I need to work more on my high trajectory shot. So as you go through it, you'll find what your misses are, and you'll kind of, so typically what my misses were I was having trouble getting my path to come more into out. And because I was struggling with the draws a little bit. The fades were a lot easier. The draws were a little bit tougher. And I was struggling with heel strikes. So that's after I went through that, I would really focus on those 2 things. So getting my path more into out, I would hit a lot more draws, trying to hit some crazy draws. And I'd be really focusing on getting that strike off the heel and getting it more in the toe. That's basically what I'd be working on there. And then maybe you'd be focusing on working on that higher trajectory shot as well, making solid contact with that. So Kim says, can you demonstrate wrist positions going from 9 to impact to 3, please? Okay, so the only wrist position that really matters is at impact. So some people are going to be in a little different position at 9 o'clock, or I assume is what you're talking about. Some people are going to have the face more open here. Some people are going to have the face more closed. So it really just depends on the person. But what really, really matters is that contact position. That face needs to be square. And it also has to depend on your grip a little bit. So going back, here we go. So if I'm at 9 here, like I said, For some people, that toe is going to be up in the air. For some people, the face is going to be angled more down. It's really just personal preference. The only thing that matters is how that face gets here. So at contact, I'm going to come in, since you can't kind of see down here, I'm going to come in. It's going to look more like that. So my wrist is going to be more like this. My lead wrist is going to be kind of in a little bit bowed or flat position. If you have a really strong grip, it may appear. So a strong grip meaning my hand is rotated like this on the grip. It's more on the side of the grip. So that'd be a pretty extreme, strong grip right there. You can see the V on my hands kind of pointing outside my shoulder there. That'd be a pretty strong grip. So as I come into contact, if I have a square club face and forward shaft lean, my wrist actually looks to be kind of cupped, but it's not. It's just because I have a strong grip. Now, if I have a really weak grip, so that would be kind of the V in between my thumb and my hand there is pointing straight up to my chin. That would be the thumb's basically going straight down the top of the club. If I come into contact with forward shaft lean and a square club face, now look at my wrist. It looks extremely bowed, right? It looks pretty bowed. So a lot of it can depend on how strong or weak your grip is. But as I'm coming into contact, basically I want forward shaft lean and I want a square club face. That's really the main thing there. So that lead wrist is going to be a flat, slightly bowed position, and that trail wrist is going to be in more of a bent back position. What I see with most people when they come into contact is it looks like this. This lead wrist is completely broken down, and this trail wrist, the main thing is this trail wrist is pretty straight. It's like in this position right here. And this feels very powerful to a lot of people, but the problem is that adds loft and it makes the shot weaker, right? So we want to make sure that we're de-lofting it. And in order to do that, we got to have that wrist kind of in this position right here. It's almost like my palm is pointing down toward the ground of the golf ball. And there's actually a great drill in this straight line release course called the pet the grass drill. When I'm coming in, I feel like I'm petting the grass with my fingers here as I'm coming through. That's what I'm feeling like. I'm feeling the same thing with my left hand. I feel like I'm petting the grass as I'm coming through there. That's a really good one to work on that. And then again, in the when you go to here with the 3 o'clock, some people are going to be rolling over more, like the face is going to be more pointed toward the ground. Some people, the face is going to be kind of held off and opening up, like a Jordan Spieth. He's kind of coming through, and that face is still pointing up to the sky. If you look at someone like a Rory McIlroy, he's really rolling over his hands more, and the face is here. But if you look at contact, the shaft is leaning forward and it's square with both of them. It looks the exact same. It's just a matter of they got to there and after there in a little different way. So I wouldn't focus so much on what's happening here or what's happening here unless it changes what's happening at impact. Impact is the most important thing. So you really want to focus on what's happening right here at the golf ball. That's the most important thing. Whatever happens from here and to there, it doesn't matter as long as this is good. All right. So Don P says, what are the benefits of rolling through impact versus holding to square the club face? So the benefits are speed. So if this face is rotating through impact, it's actually going to add speed to it because the toe of the club can be moving up to 7% faster than the center of the face. So if you just think about a driver, if I'm swinging 100 miles per hour, that's measured from the center of the club. So the toe of the club can actually be moving 107 miles per hour, and the heel of the club can be moving 93 miles per hour. So if I'm rolling my hands through, that's actually going to add an element of speed through there because that's going to give me that extra kind of whip through contact. So that's the benefit of that. The con to that is essentially that you're having the face going from open to close. So you're having more face rotation, which can make things a little bit more difficult at the time. You might be a little less consistent. So that face is going from open to close very quickly. It's going to be hard to get that to time dead square at contact. Whereas if the face is going from open to close very slowly, the odds of you squaring up the face might be a little bit better. So you got to find the happy medium that works best for you. Like a Jordan Spieth, I talked about him a second ago. He's kind of holding that face through contact. He's not a really big. He's not slow by any means, but he's not a big time speed guy. But he tends to be fairly accurate with his irons, or he has been in the past for sure. So that that could be a benefit. That's what works best for him. Whereas Rory McIlroy, right? He really gets this. He really rolls the hands over hard through impact, and that gives him a little bit extra speed. Now, obviously, it works for him, right? Player of the year last year, he's able to time that up really, really well. So you just got to find that happy medium that works best for you. I would really just do what comes naturally to you, and then work on controlling your face and your path by doing drills like that are from the Ball Striking Masterclass, which is a course that we offer every month or two. If you haven't done the Ball Striking Masterclass, I highly recommend that you do it. It really helps you to get a better awareness of your face and your path and your strike location and all those things, your ground contact. So if you haven't done the course, highly recommend that you do it. It's a 90-day course. We offer it every month or two. So be on the lookout if you have not done it. Be on the lookout in your email for an opportunity to sign up here in the future. If you have done it and you're struggling with controlling your face and your path and your flight and things like that, go back and work through the drills, get a better awareness of what's going on with those, and it will help your game immensely for sure. All right. So Stephen M says, what is the quickest way to get pure ball striking? People say my swing is great, my distance is good when I connect, but I hit the ball fat or thin most of the time. So if you're hitting the ball fat or thin, that's usually a product of releasing the club early. So I'd be looking at your swing on video. You probably release the club early, because what happens is that when you release the club early, this club is coming in very, very shallow with the turf. So basically, if it hits the ground, you more than likely have to hit the ground before the golf ball. And then if you don't hit the ground, you're more than likely going to be hitting it thin. So you're more than likely, look at your swing on video, but you're more than likely releasing this club somewhere out here instead of out there. So if you're releasing it out in front, that means you're getting forward shaft lean and you're able to hit down and through the golf ball and get that ball first contact. But if you're releasing early, club comes in very shallow, very, very level with the turf, whereas the only way to really get to take a divot is to hit behind the golf ball. And more than likely, when you hit your better shots, it's a thin shot, or the ball is sitting up on the grass like it's up on a tee, and your club can actually come in very, very level and kind of get through that and not hit it fat, and you can get the ball in the center of the face and it's not thin. Those are basically the times when you more than likely hit your best shots for sure. So what I'd recommend doing is either work on the straight line release course. I'd look at your swing on video. If you are releasing this club out in front and you're just hitting fat and thin shots, then it's awareness issue. It's not having a good awareness of the ground. And you probably just need to work on that. So that would be the Ball Striking Masterclass, working through those. And I just talked about that a minute ago. But basically, the Ball Striking Masterclass is a course where you work on your ground contact and controlling that. You work on your strike location, your face angle, your club path. That's what we call the Big Four in the Ball Striking Masterclass. And again, this is a course that we offer every month or two. So if you're interested in doing the course, be on the lookout in your email, because I imagine in the next month we'll be sending out an email for people to enroll in the Ball Striking Masterclass. So be on the lookout for that for sure. But look at your swing. If it's straight line release or the move, I'd be working on those pieces. Straight line release course and the move course can be found by clicking the house icon, scrolling down on the screen, and then and you'll see a list of all the courses on the website, and you can click whichever one from there, video your swing, see what's going on, and go from there. All right, so last question here. It's 10 a.m. right now. So Charles L says, this might not be something you can answer, but what are some good ways to get younger kids interested in playing golf? And then one more, I'll answer that, and I'll answer Serge questions, and then we'll be done. But so as far as me and Clay actually just recently went to a school, and just went out with some kids and played. A lot of kids just don't know what golf is. They've seen it on TV. I don't think it really takes much to get kids interested in golf. All you got to do is introduce it to them. That's really the main thing. Get them out there and get them doing it, get them goofing around. So really what we did is we just went out there, and my wife's actually a teacher. So we went to her school. It was kind of some program that they were having going on where they had professionals come in all fields. They had a nurse come in, talk about their job, just to get kids kind of interested, I guess, in careers and things like that. So we went out there, we told them about what we did, and then we taught them to hit some golf balls. They had some kind of some clubs out there that the PE teacher had. So yeah, that was really cool to be able to go out there and do that and hang out with the kids. And what was really cool is my wife actually just brought this home. The kids sent us a nice thank you letter. It says, "Thank you, Mr. Ballard and Mr. Patterson." I thought that was really cool. And a lot of the kids, they wrote in there saying, thank you for teaching me to play golf. So all these kids, they're all interested in golf. It's just a matter of they haven't been introduced to it by their parents. They just need to get introduced to it. I don't think that it's, I don't think it's something that kids are avoiding. Maybe some kids are, but I definitely think that if you're, I'll tell you, I got interested in golf because my dad played golf, and I know that he loved it, and I wanted to be like my dad, so I wanted to play golf from the get-go. And if you're a kid and your parents don't play golf, then it's probably not something that you're interested in. Maybe your dad likes to play basketball or something like that, or maybe your mom likes to play volleyball, and that's what you're going to be interested in. So it's just a matter of introducing it to them. And once all those kids had a blast doing that. So I think it's just a matter of getting them out there. That's really all it takes. And the kids are gonna have fun with it no matter what. It's just a matter of getting them out there and getting them doing it for sure. So Serge T says, last couple questions. It says the master class, what ability level is required to participate? It's really for all ability levels. Now it's kind of set up for a middle handicapper. So someone who's about a 15 handicapper is who it's basically set up for. So if you're a 30 handicapper, you may need to make some of the drills a little bit easier on yourself because it may be a little bit too far out of your comfort zone. So all you would need to do is just make the drills a little bit easier by maybe making the target area bigger. Sometimes we're hitting at a target area that's a 20-yard wide green. Maybe make it a 30-yard wide green instead. Just make as we go for the drills, the things that you need to do to be successful, just make them a little bit more lax. And then once you start getting those, then you can make them more difficult. So the Ball Striking Masterclass, what it includes is access to a Facebook group where you can ask questions and things like that. So if you're running into issues, and I run the Facebook group, so you can go on there, and you can always come on here and ask questions as well. But if you run into issues, all you have to do is ask, and go on there as ask, or come here and ask, and I'll be happy to help you out. If you're a lower handicap player, let's say you're like a 5 handicap player, some of the drills might be a little bit easier. You're just nailing everything. Well, if you do things that are really, really easy, you're not going to improve as much. You need to do things that are actually a little bit out of your comfort zone and fail a little bit until you start getting better and better and better with it. And that's really how you start improving. So I highly recommend the course. It's a great course. So like I said, be on the lookout for that. Todd J says, do you have on-site sessions? I'm not sure what you mean by that. On-site sessions. So we have these. We have the office hours that we do, that I do every weekday. You can see the schedule there. And then I also offer unlimited swing reviews, which I don't know if that's what you're asking about. But yeah, I have unlimited swing reviews. I don't believe I have any spots available right now, but if you are interested in doing my unlimited swing reviews, all you got to do is go up to the top of the page, click Get a Review, and that will take you to the swing reviews page, and join my waiting list. And that way, whenever I open up spots, you'll be on the list of people that get notified. I try to open up spots every month or two. I only have so much time, so I don't have all the time in the world I wish I could work with as many students as I can, but unfortunately, there's only so many hours in the day. And so last time when we opened up spots, we sent it out to the waiting list, and it's actually sold out to the waiting list. So if you don't join the waiting list, then there's a possibility you may not be able to join my swing reviews because, because they won't be available. So make sure you join that waiting list so that you're on the list of people that get notified first. That way you can have an opportunity to sign up. All right. So Charles L says that's great. Oh, awesome. And then Mike L says good day. All right, cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be back here Monday. Remember the new times on Monday. It's 5 p.m. Eastern time on Monday now. So everybody have a good weekend, and I will talk to y'all next time.